I'm Evelyn. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having an amazing day. So, full disclaimer, I am literally like, I have to go in 2.5 hours. I'm stressed out of my mind. This voiceover is probably going to be chaotic because that is what my mind is right now, just so you guys know. I'm leaving for technically Copenhagen today, but then I'm going to Rome Friday, tomorrow. Alright, I don't know when this video is going up, possibly Saturday, which means that I will be in Rome when it goes live, but I am trying desperately to manage to do everything before I leave, so here we are. I have not packed my suitcase yet, and I gotta do this voiceover, so hi. But we're building a tiny bungalow today. This was inspired by a picture that I found on Pinterest, one of the retro houses actually that I've been talking about throughout the last couple of build voiceovers, house voiceovers. I've come across a treasure. Was it a gold mine? Yeah, let's call it a gold mine. So there'll be kind of a lot of these one-story houses up, I'm not gonna lie, because they're so cute. And this one is one of them. Although I did modernize this a little bit, I don't think... Maybe it's like renovated or something, if you get what I mean. So like I wouldn't even say there's not much shape to the house. The house itself is actually quite simple. We're definitely focusing a lot more on the landscaping in today's build, so we're adding a lot to that. Also, I want to say this is a tiny house, at least what I would consider a tiny house, and it is built on a 30 by 20. It has room for 1 or 2 Sims. There is a double bed in the bedroom, so you can decide for yourself. But yeah, it's a tiny house built on a 30 by 20. It's a little bit wide, so I would have looked for a 20 by 15 that's wide instead of long, but I couldn't find one, so I started looking for a 20 by 20 instead, and there's a couple in the game, but none of them really fit. Like, I needed a path that I could put down tile leading up to the path, if you get what's like the sidewalk. I need a sidewalk, yes. And there wasn't any 20 by 20s with sidewalks, because there is one on the island in Windenburg, and then there's another one in Copperdale, but that one also does not have a sidewalk, so we're building this on a 30 by 20 instead. But I'm not utilizing the entire space on this lot because it's way too much for this tiny house. But I did have some fun with the backyard though. It's quite oddly shaped, but we'll see what happens with it once we move on from the interior. But just so you know, it's there's quite a lot of space behind the backyard. I don't often do this, but I will say I don't actually very often use the entire space on a lot. I think it has to do with terrain painting just not looking good at the edge of a lot, because like there's a harsh line, or there'll be a harsh line, and I love using terrain paint. So I don't actually often use the entire lot when I build on them. But for this one, I definitely used a little bit less than I usually do. So there was quite a lot of room behind the backyard for trees and such, and that's why there's so much foliage, so much treeage, whatever, in the thumbnail picture as well. That's because there's just quite a lot of room behind the backyard, but we'll see about that once we get to it. I hope it doesn't bother anyone though. I don't know, I've never seen anybody complain about that before, and I would never have complained about it myself either. I just felt like I needed to mention it if you were wondering what the heck is going on once we get to the backyard, although I don't think it looks super strange either. It's funny because looking at the house from above, there's definitely most of the front yard and also backyard is centered on the left side of the lot. The right side is definitely, it looks funny. You'll see that in the floor plan screenshots at the end of the video, but it looks a little bit funny if you look at the house from above. So as for the interior style, it's not necessarily a retro, but it's still mid-century modern, but like the modern kind of the renovated, the renewed kind of mid-century modern. Yeah, am I making sense right now? I might not be making sense, but that's what I'm gonna go with. So yeah, we're using a lot of stuff from Bowling Stuff Pack, but also Tiny Living, and I think a little bit from Dream Home Decorator as well. And Get Famous. There's a couple of items from Get Famous. So that sort of vibe, you know, the items that look newer but are definitely supposed to be mid-century modern. It's if you want to build like a retro house that's based on the 50s, 60s, that's the stuff that you would probably go for, along with the bowling stuff. A lot of bowling stuff, stuff pack stuff. So that's, yeah, that's what we're going for this house. And we're making it very warm, but also inspired by the color scheme that I ended up going for the exterior. The original house was actually white and beige, I think, but I have this thing with white houses basically. I just feel like they always end up, not always. I need to watch out what I'm saying because not always, but often, for me at least, end up looking a little bit bland to my eyes. Other people can pull them off. I just feel like I can't. So I decided to change it to brown and dark gray, and inspired by that, we're bringing that color scheme into the house, although it was a little bit difficult because we don't really have a lot of this kind of furniture that comes in that warm dark brown. You can see it on the cabinets right here, but this is actually about the only area of the house where I managed to find items in the right colors. So the rest are still brown, but just not this exact tone. And then black, white, gray, and not a whole lot of color beside that. There's a little bit in the bedroom added through the rug that I ended up using, which is gorgeous. It's from Get Famous. But other than that, yeah, most of the color in this house is actually added from plants because, you know, I did build the house, so there'll be plants. You know how it goes. So I know that on the last video, no, I'm still not building a Victorian house. But I might do something Halloween themed once I come back from Rome. So we'll see about that though. I just I don't know, like Christmas and autumn and everything like that. Yeah, I feel it, but Halloween, even I love the concept. Here's the thing. I love the concept of Halloween. I sometimes wish we did it here, but sometimes I also just don't think we should do it here in Denmark because we don't really celebrate. I think I've said this before, but we don't celebrate Halloween in Denmark. It's not really a very common thing. Like the general population will not do Halloween, but that's also because we have our own thing in February where people dress up. So like you'd be dressing up twice a year all of a sudden. That's a lot of money for families with children as well to spend on costumes. So we have our own thing in February, so I think that's part of the reason that it's never really fully broken through. You know what I mean, yeah. So even though the February thing is definitely a lot less, it's a lot more tame because it's not focused on spooky stuff. So yeah, we have our own thing, but that's also part of the reason why I feel like sometimes it would feel weird to start to partake in to Halloween and videos and such. Like, I don't know, because it's not our tradition, you know? So, yeah, I don't know. We might do some paranormal stuff, but we will see. If you really want a Halloween house, let me know and I will look into it. But it just, yeah, it would be like partaking in Valentine's Day as well. Like, I don't do Valentine's Day, so I don't know. Or actually, maybe that would be less weird, considering Valentine's is very commercial, whereas Halloween is actually an old Irish tradition, isn't it? Samhain, or however you pronounce that. So at least, oh wait, no, that's the wrong way to pronounce it. If you're Irish, can you try to explain how to pronounce it? I know that I can Google it, but honestly, today I really don't have the time because, like I said, I gotta go. Like I'm in a hurry. Okay, I'll try to remember to Google the way to pronounce it once I come home because it's definitely not the right way. It's not Samhain. That's how he pronounces it in Halloween, and it's the complete wrong way to pronounce it. Okay. But anyway, now we're off on a tangent. Let's get back to what's important, what we're doing, the build. I don't know what we're doing right now, but we're decorating. I think we're decorating the little office area they have. So this house floor plan was actually a lot of fun to do. I will say I'm a little bit annoyed that you have to walk through the kitchen to get to the bedroom, but I had limitations. It has to do with windows on the back of the house, because the back of the house, if you look at it and without decor and stuff, this is just me highlighting all the flaws with my builds as per usual. But if you look at it without the decor on the back of the house, it looks very bare. It's like a flat wall with basically nothing on it. So I needed to yeah, I needed to do what I had to do what I had to do. That's just, it is what it is. If I was okay placing counters in front of windows, like so that basically from the outside you can see the bag of counters through the windows, it would be so much easier to do floor plans, but I'm not okay with that. I don't like when my counters clip with my windows. So I had to figure out where to place the kitchen, also to make sure that I could get in enough counters. And also, I did not want them to have like a super, super tiny bathroom in this house because there should be space enough for a proper bathroom. So at least a 2x2 bathroom, because that is like without sizing down anything, that is the smallest I can do a bathroom, a functional, or you can do a 1x3 actually, but that's very, very small. So I just wanted to have the like a proper bathroom right here. So it had to be in the middle of the house because you don't technically need windows for bathrooms. Like that is a luxury. You don't need windows for bathrooms as long as you have a good ventilation system. You don't need windows in bathrooms. So it had to be right here in the middle of the house where there are no windows. So moving around that or like trying to plan everything around the bathroom being in the middle, everything just sort of fell into place. But that does mean you have to walk through the kitchen to get to the bedroom. It shouldn't matter that much. I have to walk through the kitchen to get to my office, you know? I'm very good at being nitpicky when it comes to my own builds. Like I will literally tear them apart if you ask me to. Not because I don't like my own builds, because I don't think I'd be okay with sharing anything with you guys that I'm just not happy with, but I'm also a perfectionist, so nothing is ever good enough, you know? Like, that's a curse. Also, I'm a perfectionist who realizes and recognizes that perfection does not exist because it's very subjective. Nothing I've ever done is perfect in my eyes, to my eyes. But yeah, it's like it's a blessing and a curse. Actually, it's mainly a curse. I don't know why I said blessing. It's definitely only a curse. Yes. It's like you're always happy enough with what you've built to share it. You're always proud enough of what you've done to share it, but in the back of your head, you're like, it's never actually, it's not good. Like, it's still not good enough. It could still be better, you know? Don't worry, everything is fine. I just like picking apart my builds. That's the thing. I hope you guys are okay with that. But anyway, yeah, backyard. I had a lot of fun with this one. It definitely did not turn out the way that it looks right now. You'll see in a second. Because at some point I thought maybe I should place down a gardening area in this area in this square that's done with hedges. But then I also felt like the entire backyard was way too split up into different sections. With there being 3 sections at least for a house this size, it just felt weird. Usually I split up my backyards into sections and then try to connect them in some way through landscaping or pathways or whatever else I do. But for this house, it looked wrong for them to have 3. It looked way too sectional. So I decided to remove one of them. They don't have a gardening area. They ended up with a pool in the hedged up area instead. That's what I'm going to call it. That's what I'm going to refer to. And then I had issues figuring out what I wanted up here on the platform because they actually have 2 other patios as well. They have one on the left side of the house if you look at it from the front, where there is, where did I place oh right, the trash cans are kind of hidden. That's funny, but there are outdoors trash cans, by the way. They're just a little bit hidden. But on the patio on the left side, I ended up giving them a dining table for 4 people and also a couple of plants. And then there's like this small hidden patio on the right side that I'm not sure that I've decorated as we are like at this point in the video. But they end up with a lounge area there and 2 plant pots, not plots, pots. So they already have a lounge area and they already have the dining table. I gave them another lounge area here though. It's a little bit more, it's still closed off, but you know. And then also they ended up with almost an outdoors kitchen. It's not a full-on kitchen, it's basically a grill, a bigger grill. And a couple of counters. There's a lot of sauces on one of the counters and also a dining table. And yeah, they just have a lot of outdoors space in this house. But the house itself is also very small. And like I've already established, we're building on a 30 by 20. So there's going to be a lot of outdoor space to play around with and decorate and furnish and everything. And for this household, I didn't feel like anything like a little playground would make sense. They don't come across as the kind of like gardening people, you know what I mean? And I don't really know what else they could like maybe an outdoors movie screen or something could have fit, but I wouldn't know where to put that. So they have like a lot of relaxing or a lot of spaces outdoors for just relaxing, and maybe that's okay. And then there's a lot of plants as well, although I have toned it down a little bit for this house because I felt like, you know, with some of the bigger houses that I do, I add like a lot of foliage for the exteriors, and it's fine because the houses are bigger, but this is a tiny house. I would say it's a tiny house. It's a bigger tiny house, but it's still a tiny house. But if I'd done the landscaping like I would have normally done on a 30 by 20, it would have been way overpowering. There would have been way too many plants for a house this size. So we're toning it down a little bit, but they do have some wilder foliage around a lot as well. But I think that's it. I think that's it for this slightly, I don't even know what I've said throughout this voiceover because I just have to hurry. But I hope you took something from it at least. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you like the build, you can download it off the gallery. My ID is AvelineYT, and you can also find it under the hashtag Aveline or AvelineYT. And as always, you can find the tray files over on my Patreon, which will be linked to in the description box as well as in the pinned comment. And if you like books, check out my booktube channel, which is also linked in the pinned comment. But that is all I got for you guys today, so I hope you all enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe and all that good stuff if you did, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!
Walking down the shore, diving head first down to the ocean floor. You